Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aaron. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to play El Cascabel. This arrangement is from an old recording of Mariachi Vargas. It's what I would call a standard version. People call it cajon. You can find different people that play different versions of Cascabel, but this is what we'll call cajon. As always, I have the music ready for you for free digital download. Click the link. This time I'm going to put it in the comments. Click the link. It'll take you to a folder in a Google Drive. You can download it, email it, print it, share it, whatever you like, it's yours. Now I've also added chapters to this video so you can skip along. If you want to skip ahead to the solo, look at the chapters and you can skip right away to that part. Now I'm going to start this video with some exercises. And I know some people don't like to study exercises and etudes and stuff like that. So if you want to get straight to the introduction, skip ahead to that part. I transcribed these exercises so they're also available for PDF download. We'll start with the first exercise. Now here, we're just playing eighth notes from D to E. You want to make sure you have a good hand frame. Your first finger and your second finger should be down while the third finger is down also. You want to move your pinky from this joint right here. And rather than moving the finger, try to get a nice good bend. Now some people say their pinky is too short. Bring your elbow in a little bit and look at how my pinky curves. You're gonna get that extra reach if you have a short pinky. Exercise number 1, let's just play the first measure, eighth notes. Okay, so you're paying attention to your fourth finger. Can it reach? And is it moving when you want it to move? Next measure, second finger and fourth finger. Now we'll do the top bowing. Ready? Go. Now when you put down your fourth finger, you also want to put down your third finger. That way the spacing is perfect. If you just put 2 and 4, your fourth finger kind of guesses where it's supposed to go. But if you have your solid finger position, 1, 2, 3, 4, the distance is measured out perfectly with 3 and 4. Next measure, 1 and 4. And last measure, open and 4. Now, the way to approach these exercises is to choose one every day. So tomorrow, you're getting warmed up, you take out your violin, you start with exercise number 2. You take a careful look at your technique, what you're doing with your left hand, your right hand for a good 5 to 10 minutes. You're really warming up and consciously making decisions about how you're playing. Then the next day, you pick, I'm going to go back to exercise number 1. And the same thing, you take 5 to 10 minutes, warm up, really think about how your fingers are moving, what you're doing with your technique. Okay, so exercise number 2, you can change the bowings also. Let's do just 2 eighth notes. Ready, and. So when you're practicing this, you're making sure that you're playing in tune, that your fingers are moving how they should be. Your wrists, your elbow, all of your arms shouldn't be moving as you're playing each note. You kind of want to have this, your hand, your wrist, and your forearm pretty stable. All right, let's try number 2 again a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3. Now, exercise number 3 is one of my favorite practice rhythms. We use practice rhythms in passages to train muscle-mind connection and to train for agility. Now, for number 3, we have the long-short rhythm. Let's turn on the metronome. Okay, we have the metronome here set at 75. Quarter note is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and. But now we have a dotted rhythm. Dot, 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 long, short, long, short, long. So let's try just that first measure. Ready? And. Let's play the second, third, and fourth measure, and I'm going to repeat each of those measures 2 times. Ready, set, go. The next one, exercise number 4, is the opposite of the long short. This is now the short long rhythm. So let's turn on our metronome again. We have short long, short long, short long. The first measure, ready, and. So this is all of exercise number 4, each measure repeated twice. 1, 2, 3. So remember, only practice 1 exercise per day and be very aware of what exactly you're trying to achieve. Okay, so right from the beginning, your first note is a harmonic E. You can find it just right in the middle of the string. You can also find it in 4th position, right? So where your 4th finger normally goes. Now your first finger goes here. B, C, D, E. And you press lightly on the string, you get that ringing sound, that's the harmonic. And then we have tremolo, all in the fingers and the wrist. You shouldn't be moving all of your arm, okay? Relax the fingers, relax the wrist. Tremolo. So the vihuela plays the intro, and then you come in. Then trumpets play, ba bum bum, ba ba bum bum, ba bum, ba bum bum. Then you have a glissando down. When you play it up to tempo, it'll be pretty fast. Okay, so it's just going to be a slide down, slow glissando. Now we're at letter A. It's important to use 4th finger, otherwise we're going to be doing way too many string crossings. Okay, so letter A, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 1. 2, 3, 1. That rhythm is important. 1, 2, 3, 1, and 2, and 3, and. Make sure to hold that note, that long note, full value. Ready, and up. 2, 3, 1. 2, 3, 1. Okay, so you got the rhythm. Now I want to talk about the notes. So on the A string, I'd like to talk about the finger pattern. You have open A, first finger B, second finger C natural, okay, right next to the first finger, then D and E. So you have this. This is what we call finger pattern number 2. Okay, then on the D string, we have D, E, F natural, G sharp, and A. We have what is called finger pattern number 3. It's important to know these finger patterns so that you know what notes you're playing on each string. Now I'll take you through that part again from letter A. 1, 2, 3, 1. 2, 3, 1. 2, 3, 1. 2, 3, and get the G sharp ready. Here's the bowing from measure 19. 1, 2, 3, 1. All right, you got some slurs in there. 2, 3, 1. Okay, so let's start right at measure 21. This is where you're going to see the payoff of the exercises that we were doing earlier. So nice and slow, it's It's important that you are using your fourth finger, otherwise there's way too many string crossings and nobody really plays it like that. You have 3 string crossings and it's going to be really, really muddy and it's not going to sound good. So using that fourth finger. Now with a tempo, let's start at 21. 1, 2, 3. Now we're at letter B. Nice and slow. Let me show you the notes. One more time, a little slower at letter B. Okay, so here we go with a tempo. Let's start at letter B. 1, 2, 3. So at letter B, if you're struggling to play this part, take it nice and slow. Make sure you get the notes first, and then make sure you see what each finger is doing. This is also a difficult jump. You have to see what your first finger is doing. It's just moving across the string. So you should just be moving it right across like that, not lifting it up and then placing it down on the next string. Okay, move it right over. So take it nice and slow, and one of the best ways to increase your speed is using the practice rhythms that we saw in the exercises. So for example, if I want to use the long short rhythm, so I'm going to start slow and then I'm going to increase the speed with that same rhythm. Long, short, long, short, long. That's one day. The next day, or maybe the day after that, faster. Okay, and then I'll go back to a slow tempo and I'll play the short, long rhythm. Right? Short, long, short, long, short, long. Start slow. Then the next day, increase the speed. The day after that, increase it even more. Intonation is very important when you're practicing these. Don't sacrifice intonation for speed. So you can't go fast and fast, but you're playing out of tune. Keep the tempo slow. Make sure you're playing perfectly in tune. Get the fingerings correct, then increase the speed. Okay, and then after that time has passed, play it again slow as written. And you're going to notice that you're able to play it faster, cleaner, and with more ease. All right, so now we're at letter C. This part is going to be lush, full bow, lots of vibrato, big, beautiful sound. So we have, right, shift to third position. G sharp is right next to third finger. Here the finger pattern is E, F natural, G sharp, A. So we have this, an augmented finger pattern number 1, right? Because a low F natural and that G sharp, that makes an augmented second. So again, we have third position. Then here, A, B, C. Instead of 1, 2, 3, we're going to do 1, 2, 2. Since B to C is a half step, it's right next to each other, we're going to do 1, 2, 2. Here we go again from letter C. Don't forget that half step, B, first finger. And we're back to that harmonic in fourth position. Again, nice and slow. Half step. Okay, then after the coro, we're in third position. Find your third position where third finger normally goes on A. Now our first finger goes there. Okay, that's third position. We start on B, so second finger. 1, 2, 2. Remember, C back to B is a half step. All right, the bowing was backwards, but those were the notes. Again, from that part, measure 55. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Now the slurs go frog to tip, use all of the bow. Okay, pickups to letter D. 1, 2. Same thing we did earlier, use that fourth finger, otherwise there's way too many string crossings. Here we go. 1, 2. Now that is a difficult passage to play. E, G sharp, B to F natural is a half step away on the E string. Okay, it's not a perfect fifth across the string. And that's B to F sharp. Okay, so E. Nice and slow, pickups to letter D. 1, 2. So this letter D section, I suggest taking it in chunks. Practice that first part slowly, get the bowings correct, the notes correct. What's a good way to practice it? Practice rhythms. Then when you're ready, let's go to the next section. Pickups to measure 78. 1, 2. We have that tenuto marking. It's a heavy push, a heavy emphasis on that note. Again, same spot. 1, 2. Now make sure we have that finger pattern on the G string. G sharp, F natural. Okay, F natural to G sharp, augmented second, so there's a big stretch. And don't have your fingers, this is the habit that we're trying to break when we do the exercises, is having all of your fingers all popped up. If we have G sharp, like this, we don't know where E is. We're gonna take a guess. And it's kind of suspicious, but if you have that finger pattern set, look, G sharp is set, but the next notes are also set. And it's gonna come out in tune, okay? So if you have these flying fingers, little by little, when you're practicing your exercises and you're practicing your scales, try to break that habit. Last time. 1, 2. Okay, so I'm going to show you one example of using the practice rhythm. This is at letter D, and we're going to use the long, short rhythm. Okay, so the important things when using practice rhythms, the fingering and the intonation. Make sure you're playing the notes with the correct fingers that you said you were going to play with, and then making sure that they're perfectly in tune. The bowing is going to get a little confusing. So the bowing is not so much important. The practice rhythm, the fingering, and the intonation are the most important aspects of these practice rhythms. So long, short rhythm at letter D. Long, short, long, short, long, short. 1, 2. So I would do that 2 or 3 times. If you have it perfect, then raise the tempo. And raise the tempo little by little. Here, for the purpose of this video, we're gonna skip a few clicks ahead. We're gonna go 10 clicks ahead. Let's make it 20. With that same practice rhythm. Long, short, long, short, long, short, long. Ready, and 1, 2. Okay, so play it perfectly 2 or 3 times like that. If you can't, lower the tempo. Again, reassure you're playing the correct fingerings, correct notes. Bowing, not so much important. If you can play it perfectly, then increase the speed little by little, getting up to tempo speed. All right, then next week, a couple of days later, then you change the practice rhythm, and now we're gonna do short, long rhythm. You have to take the same baby steps, 1 step at a time, building up to that full tempo speed. So we start slow, short, long, short, long, short, long. Play it perfectly, correct fingering, perfect intonation, increase the speed. Okay, let's do a time lapse, say maybe 2 or 3 weeks has passed by and we've been practicing a lot. And now we're at a higher tempo of the short, long rhythm right here. Short, long, short, long. Okay, this is at letter D. Ready, and 1, 2. Alright, so eventually you want to get even faster than what would be considered full tempo speed. And that's, like I said, training the agility. Then you bring it down a couple of notches, full tempo speed, and you play it as written. You're going to feel a huge difference if you really put in the time and the work. It's going to be like butter. Okay, now we're at the solo section. Here we are going to use open E. Right at the solo section, let's get the notes. B to C natural, a good half step. The good thing is to know the distance between the A string and the E string. It's not that big of a jump. So you notice I'm not moving my elbow too much, mostly the fingers and the wrist. If you're doing all of this action, it's going to be very, very scratchy, out of tune. So look at the distance between the A string and the E string. Practice that a couple of times and make sure you're not moving your elbow too much. If you can move only your wrist and maybe some fingers, that's going to be good. So try that. And the notes are pretty simple, right? We have B, C, D. So here we go with a slow tempo at letter E. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so at 109, we have a grace note, and it's just like a flicked note, a thrown note. Just for ornamentation. Nice and slow. Make sure you get that good F natural. Then B to G sharp. Okay, so the bowing is a little tricky. Let's go through that bowing slowly. This is at measure 111. Again, if you don't have the notes, get the notes first and then look at the bowing. Okay, here's the bowing. Again, 111. Ready, and. Okay, so make sure you have those slurs right in place and then increase the speed a little bit. 111, 1, 2, 3. Again, for those 16th notes, your wrists and your fingers have to be really relaxed. If you're super stiff, it's bad technique. You're not going to be able to play it as fast. It's going to come across scratchy. So we want to really loosen up the wrists, loosen up the fingers. So last time, nice and slow, 111. 1, 2, 3. So here we are at 119. The bowing is just down, up, down, up, down, up, but pay attention to the accents. Let's take it nice and slow. 119. 1, 2, 3. Faster. 1, 2, 3. And increase that speed slowly over time. Of course, if this is your first time ever playing this piece, you would definitely not be taking it that fast. Okay, start slow, get the fingerings correct, notes correct, intonation, everything. Then get the bowing perfected slowly, and then little by little, you'll increase the speed. Okay, so at letter F, you're playing double stops. And that means you're playing the A string and the E string both at the same time. Now, sometimes people say, pretend there's a string right in the middle of the A and the E string, and you're playing on that string. If that helps you, use it. For me, I don't know. I was taught that there's planes, like different levels. So the E string, let's say it's level 1, A string, level 2, D, and so on. Now there's a space between level 1 and level 2. And that, let's say that's 1.5. And that's where I play. So whatever helps you to think about playing 2 strings at a time, double stops, use it. Now on the E string, we're just going between E and F natural. Nothing complicated, okay? And then on the A string, D and C. So make sure you have that C natural and the third finger D perfectly in tune. You got your finger pattern already set. So put it together, nice and slow. Okay, just take that first section. If you're having trouble, try that again. So again, you're just playing on the A string and on the E string. Now combine it. Okay, practice that nice and slow with long bows if you're still having trouble. Take it piece by piece, little by little, until you get comfortable with playing that double stop and the changing notes. All right, so here's letter F, nice and slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and. So like we've said before, make sure the intonation is good, fingering is good, then increase the speed little by little. Then when you're getting closer to practice tempo, you're going to add the dynamics. This is what's commonly played. At letter F, you have forte, then it goes piano, forte, piano, and then forte again. So let's try it with the dynamics. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so playing louder, you put a little more pressure into the string and you can use a lot more bow, softer, lighten up the bow pressure and use less bow. At 131, we have E, G sharp, and B. Like we were doing the exercises on the A string, you can apply them to the E string also. So that you have that finger pattern in place. E, G sharp, and B. Try to put your third finger down when you put down fourth finger so that you know the exact space and the exact distance that you have to put down your fourth finger. Now G sharp to A is a half step. So we shift E, G sharp, A. So open to shift. Very small shift. Your hand and your fingers shouldn't be moving really, really big motions. Okay, small shift. Then we go to third position. Imagine your first finger down on A, then B, and D. But we're playing open E. Just those notes, but the other fingers should be in the position, not just flared up. Otherwise, you're kind of guessing where the notes are going to go. So we want to be very conscious of what position we are in and where the other fingers should be. So up to that part. B to C is a half step. So we have that half step shift, B, 2, 2, then D, and E. And we're back at our harmonic note. Last time at 131, talking about positions. First position, G sharp and B, then A, then third position, A, B, C. Then B to C is a half step shift. C, D, E, C. When you think about the positions, the exact notes that you're playing, we're going to 99% of the time be perfectly in tune. Versus we're just guessing. There's no correct intonation and it's going to sound really bad. So be very conscious of your position and the correct notes that you should be playing. Now let's play it with some tempo. This is 131. 1, 2, 3. Then we go back to the DS. DS, dal segno, to the sign. The sign is at the top of the page. We play that tremolo, trumpets, ba-bum-bum, ba-ba-bum, bum, ba-bum. Then we play all the way through until it says tu coda, and the coda is the ending, the coros. And now we know el cascabel. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. See you in the next video.